We're here to unpack compelling ideas, really digging into our sources to help you get instantly more well-informed. Today, we're looking at something that feels basic, but is honestly profoundly transformative: the incredible power of setting clear goals.
That's right. And our main source for this deep dive, the power of setting goals, it's not just abstract theory.
Right.
It's packed with real insights and some really compelling stories from people's lives. Our mission really is to pull out the most actionable, most inspiring takeaways so you can genuinely harness this power yourself. Start building some real momentum.
Exactly. So whether you're, aiming to master a new skill, maybe climb the ladder at work, improve your health, or even just finally read more books, this deep dive should give you some practical tools and maybe a few surprising facts to help you actually hit those targets you set.
Okay, so let's start with something I think, almost everyone runs into. Have you ever kicked something off a hobby, maybe, or a fitness plan with just huge enthusiasm?
Yeah.
Only to find that spark just kind of fizzles out after a few days or weeks. Oh yeah, it's a super common feeling, isn't it? And, often the reason behind that lost momentum is fundamentally just a lack of clear goals.
So it's more than just having a vague idea.
Much more. What's really fascinating is how goals don't just point the way. They actually seem to rewire how you think. They give you that essential direction, sure, but it's deeper. Without them, it's like you're driving a car, but you've got no map, no destination programmed in. You're moving, yeah, but where are you actually going? Goals just cut through all that fog. They help you focus your time, your energy. It's like installing a mental GPS.
A mental GPS. I like that.
Yeah. Think about this story of Daniel. He was a sales manager, kind of stuck in the same job for years. Then his boss asks him, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel realized, honestly, he had no clue, no real answer. So that night, he set a really clear goal: become regional manager within 2 years.
Okay, so a specific target and time frame.
Exactly. And that single objective just completely changed his daily actions. He started showing up early. He was devouring leadership books, asking for feedback constantly. He even signed up for a communication course. And guess what? He got that promotion in just 18 months. It's just a powerful example of how a clear goal gives you direction, but also intense focus.
That direction piece makes sense. But, motivation, it comes and goes, right? So how do goals help with discipline, pushing through when you just don't feel like it?
Right. And that's where you see the kind of deeper benefit. Discipline, and the source is a great way of putting this, it isn't really about having amazing willpower. It's more about the consistent commitment to doing something, even when that motivation dips, even when you really don't feel like it. Goals are sort of the architects of this.
How so?
Well, they link that immediate discomfort getting out of a warm bed, say, to your bigger aspiration. You're essentially using your future vision to overcome your present reluctance. There's this personal example of the source material about setting a goal to walk 5 kilometers every single morning.
Okay, that sounds tough initially.
It was a constant battle, warm bed, cold morning. But just reminding himself of the goal, that why, it turned into a habit in about 3 weeks. And the payoff: more energy, better sleep. That seemingly small, consistent action, all fueled by a clear goal, it genuinely made a huge difference.
Okay, so direction, discipline. What about just the overall structure of our days? How do goals impact that?
Well, they give your life actual structure. Without goals, days can just sort of drift by. You feel busy, maybe, but not like you're making real progress towards anything specific. Goals make your mind work differently, too. You start spotting opportunities you might have totally missed otherwise.
Like what kind of opportunities?
You start asking better questions, more focused questions, like, okay, what's the very next step here? Or who knows how to do this thing I need to learn? Think about Thomas. He's an electrician, dreamed for ages about opening his own repair shop. But for years, it was just a thought, a wish.
Just a dream, basically.
Exactly. Until his wife finally asked him point blank, what's actually stopping you? That kind of pushed him. So he set a concrete goal: open the shop within 1 year. Then he broke it down small tasks every weekend, researching locations, figuring out licenses, sourcing parts. And bang, 12 months later, his shop was open. It wasn't magic. It was the structure, the focus, the questions that the goal forced him to address.
Yeah, and reading through these stories, something that really jumped out at me was the confidence piece. Even small wins seem to have this big ripple effect. How does that work?
Oh, it's huge. It's like profound self-validation. When you achieve a goal, even a tiny one, it builds your confidence. It's actual proof right there, showing you what you can do. Look at Emily, a nurse, small town, big dream, study overseas in an English-speaking country. Problem was, her English wasn't great.
That sounds like a massive
Yeah.
hurdle.
It was. But instead of getting overwhelmed, she set specific, manageable goals. Practice listening on her bus ride, join a local English club, and crucially, pass the B2 English exam that's pretty advanced within 6 months. It was tough, she worked hard, and she passed it. And that success wasn't just about the language. It fundamentally built her belief in herself, gave her the confidence to actually apply for those programs she dreamed about.
And what about when things get really tough? Because they always do eventually. How do goals help us stay positive, keep pushing forward?
They become your anchor, really. Goals are crucial for staying positive. They give you that core reason to keep going when things feel hard or frustrating. Take Sarah. She wanted a better job, needed better English, but she found listening to fast speech incredibly difficult. She was almost ready to quit.
I can imagine. That's discouraging.
Totally. But remembering her specific goal, passed the English test in 6 months, that kept her going. She focused on small, daily steps, listening to short clips, practicing with friends, reading simple stuff, and eventually she passed that test. The goal was genuinely the anchor that kept her from drifting away when the storm hit, metaphorically speaking.
So pulling all these threads together, goals aren't just wish lists. They seem to be the actual foundation for purpose. They stop you feeling lost, guide your focus, channel your energy.
Absolutely. They tell you where to point your flashlight in the dark.
Okay, so we've really dug into the why. It's clear goals are powerful. But the next big question is how? How do we actually do this effectively? Lots of people have dreams, big ideas, but figuring out where to start, how to build that roadmap, that's often the sticking point, isn't it?
It really is. And the very first step, maybe the most critical one, is clarity and simplicity. You can't build a solid plan on fuzzy ideas. Don't try to juggle like 10 major goals right out of the gate. Start with just one clear, simple objective, and crucially, make it specific.
Okay, specific how? Give me an example.
Well, instead of, I want to be better at English, which is vague, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you measure that? Make it, I want to learn 10 new English words every week.
Yeah.
See? That's specific. It's measurable. You know exactly what you need to do. Recon, for instance, used this exact method, kept a little notebook, jotted down 2 new words a day, made sentences.
And did it work?
Amazingly well. In 6 months, he'd learned over 300 words, felt way more confident talking to colleagues. He even gave a presentation at work, which he wouldn't have dreamed of before. And Peter, another example, factory worker, really struggled with English until he wrote down this super clear, simple goal. I will learn 5 new English words every day for the next 3 months.
5 words a day. That feels achievable.
Exactly. And that consistent, specific daily action. He learned over 150 words in just the first month. It's about making it concrete.
That leads perfectly to the next point, doesn't it? Starting small and building consistency. Those tiny daily actions, how do they add up?
They add up massively. It's like compound interest, but for your personal growth. Small, consistent daily goals are so powerful because they build habits without feeling overwhelming. Remember, John? Tried running 5K every morning.
Yeah, failed quickly.
Right, because it's too much.
Yeah.
Too soon. So he adjusted. Smart move. Changed his goal to just 10 minutes of walking every evening. Much smaller step. That became a habit after about 3 weeks. Then, only then, did he start slowly increasing the time and intensity. Consistency, even if progress feels slow, that's the absolute key.
It's not about giant leaps every day.
Not at all. Look at Maria, busy mom, 3 kids. She managed to complete 4 business courses in a year. How? By committing to just 15 minutes of study each night after the kids were asleep. Her secret wasn't finding huge chunks of time. It was discipline and commitment to that small, consistent window. And importantly, if you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the next day. One slip doesn't ruin everything.
That commitment idea is key. You mentioned Peter writing his goal down. What's the magic there? Why does writing it down seem to make such a difference?
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But writing your goals down, it literally changes something in your brain. It takes it from being just a fleeting thought, an abstract wish, and makes it tangible, a commitment. The source calls it the power of the written word. Your brain just pays more attention when you've physically written something down.
Makes it feel more real, less like just an idea floating around.
Exactly. James, the truck driver, he wrote down his goal. Start his own delivery company in 2 years. He put it on paper, reviewed it monthly. That written goal helped keep him focused through all the inevitable challenges. And eventually, He did it, opened his company, had multiple vans. That tangible written commitment keeps you anchored.
That's a great point. Okay, but what about those really huge goals, the ones that feel kind of scary? How do you approach something massive without just freezing up?
Yeah, big goals can be intimidating. The trick is to break them down, chop them up into smaller, much more manageable pieces. It makes the whole thing feel less scary, more achievable. Like, if your big goal is speak English fluently, wow, that's huge, right?
Totally overwhelming.
So break it down. Start with learn how to introduce myself confidently. Then, maybe, be able to talk about my job. Then, understand basic news headlines. Each small step you conquer builds confidence. It feels like a win, and it gets you closer to the big goal without the overwhelm.
This brings us to something else that feels really important. We've got the what, the specific goal. We've got the how, breaking it down, consistency. But what about the why? Why is understanding your personal motivation so critical?
The why. That's the fuel in the engine. Identifying your deep down reason. Why does this goal actually matter to you? That gives you incredible strength. Resilience. It's that intrinsic motivation that pulls you forward when the going gets tough, when external rewards or pressures fade.
Can you give an example of a strong why?
Sure. Anna. She wanted to improve her English. Why? Not just for herself, but specifically so she could help her kids with their homework. Now that is a powerful, personal reason. Every time she felt tired or frustrated studying, she could connect back to that why, helping her kids. That kept her focused, kept her motivated. It's that deeper connection that really fuels persistence.
That makes perfect sense. But, even with a clear goal, a strong why, people still struggle with sticking to it. What's the biggest barrier there, and how can, telling someone help?
Yeah, follow through is tough. Often the hurdle is just maintaining that internal accountability day after day. It's easy to let yourself off the hook. That's where support and accountability from others can make a massive difference. Sharing your goals with someone you trust, a friend, a partner, a mentor, creates an external commitment.
So it's not just you holding yourself accountable anymore.
Exactly. James, the guy saving money. He told his wife about his goal. Just her knowing helped him stay on track. She gently reminded him, hey, remember the savings goal, when he was tempted to buy something unnecessary. That kind of support, that gentle accountability, it really does make a big difference for a lot of people.
Okay, and what about keeping track? Seeing your progress, is that just about looking back, or does it do something more?
Oh, it does much more. There's a real psychological boost. Tracking your journey is incredibly motivating because seeing visual progress reinforces your effort. It makes it real. The source talks about this simple but effective calendar method. Get a calendar, and every day you hit your goal, put a big X on that day.
Like building a chain.
Exactly. Yeah. David used this when he was learning to write better reports for work. Seeing that chain of X's growing on his calendar, he felt this real sense of pride, accomplishment. And guess what? His writing got significantly better. You don't want to break the chain, right? And beyond that, reviewing your progress regularly, say weekly, ask yourself, what did I actually do this week towards my goal? What worked? What didn't? What can I do better next week?
So it's not just tracking, it's learning and adjusting.
Precisely. Maybe you aim to read 20 pages of a book every day, but you only manage 5. Okay, learn from that. Don't give up. Maybe 5 pages is more realistic right now. Adjust the plan. It's about constant, gentle course correction.
And that leads to another crucial point, I think. Building anything requires dealing with bumps in the road, flexibility and resilience. Goals aren't set in stone, are they? Life happens.
Absolutely not set in stone. You need to be adaptable. Goals can, and sometimes should, change. That's okay. Life throws curveballs. Maybe your circumstances change or you realize the original goal wasn't quite right. Flexibility is key. And resilience means not giving up entirely if you miss a day or hit a snag. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about not stopping completely.
So if a goal needs to change, it's not failure.
Not at all. It shows you're paying attention, you're learning, you're being smart. Remember Anna, she initially wanted to learn fancy cooking, but her schedule was just too packed. So she pivoted smartly, focused on learning simple, quick, healthy meals instead. That wasn't failure. That was adapting to reality. It means your internal GPS is recalculating the best route, not abandoning the trip.
Okay, so flexibility is key. And when you're adapting or pushing through the tough bits, how do you keep that positive momentum? What about celebrating the wins?
Yes. Celebrating every win, no matter how small, is so important for keeping motivation high. That feeling of accomplishment, even for a small step, it really pushes you to aim higher next time. Mike wanted to wake up earlier, a classic tough one. He started celebrating his small successes. If he got up on time for a few days straight, he'd treat himself to his favorite fancy coffee on the weekend.
Little rewards along the way.
Exactly. Those small, self-reinforcing treats made a surprisingly big difference in keeping him consistent. It's basic positive reinforcement, and it works for ourselves too.
Love that. And finally, any really simple, practical tips just to set ourselves up for success right from the start, things we can do today.
Definitely. Planning for success often involves overcoming potential obstacles, like simply forgetting. So using reminders can be incredibly effective. Think about Emma, the nurse improving her English. She put sticky notes with new vocabulary words on her bathroom mirror.
So she'd see them every morning.
Yep. Read them while brushing your teeth. Such a small action, right? But integrated into her existing routine, prompted by a simple visual reminder. And those little moments added up to significant learning over time. It's about making it easy to remember and do. So if you pull it all together, setting goals isn't just this one-off thing you do. It's really a cycle, a dynamic process. You set the goal, you make a plan, you do the work. Then you review how it's going, you adjust if needed. The core message is persistence. Don't give up, even if progress feels slow sometimes. Because those small steps, taken consistently, they really do lead to big results over time.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you listening right now? Fundamentally, setting goals is like building a really strong foundation for whatever you want to build in your life. It's creating that clear blueprint, that navigation system for your journey. It gives meaning to what you do every day, and it helps you laser focus your attention, your energy on what truly matters to you.
Yeah, and maybe just leave you with this final thought to chew on. What's one small, specific, consistent goal you could start, maybe even today? Something that, like planting a tiny seed and just watering it daily, could genuinely grow into a significant change in your life down the road. Think about which of these stories or these tips really clicked for you. How could you apply just one thing to something you've been wanting to achieve?